Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, and this is part 2 of the 12 by 12 mixed media abstract on panel. So this is where we left off last week, and then I'm taking another pass and just to see what we can come up with. So last week I decided I didn't like all the yellow. So I put that deli wrap collage piece over it, knowing that it would be very transparent and definitely the yellow was showing through. So now I am left with this big rectangle with a circle on the upper left-hand corner in the middle. Looking at it now, that's what's going on. And it's a very busy piece, of course, but I am learning to use as many layering techniques, marks, shapes, patterns, to really load up my work. But then it's learning how to edit your piece, taking it back down, having some quiet contrasting with the many layers of all the patterns, shapes, etc. So as you can see, since it's mostly a lot of, not mostly, but a lot of hard-edged shapes, I'm thinking of soft edge and trying to break up the big white rectangle and the long skinny black rectangle with the blue circle on the right. So you'll see, and trying to disperse and think of the different colors and different values, degree of saturation throughout the piece. So as you can see here, I think that's just the high gloss. I want to make sure that layer is protected enough so when I do put more layers on top and may not like them, I can just wipe them away. So I've learned that, at least. That's something I've learned. So I'm continuing because I know, and you've seen in the previous last week, that every time I touch the black, it exposed a little bit of the layer underneath. And you can see this week, or today, when I'm taking this further, I'm going to make sure I'm using a clean cloth or paper towel. So applying some more protection or seal over this. You can also use matte medium. This is the thicker gloss. So I really want to get myself, I have the matte medium. I want to just get the gloss medium that one of my mentor artists uses in her paints all the time and uses a squirty bottle. And those of you who are, you know who I'm talking about. So trying to bring the eye down with some bright color in that lower right-hand corner. And I really like doing that. And I love the oranges. So I'm thinking, gee, do I have enough? Have I mixed enough of the red and the yellow oxide together to make some really interesting yellows? I don't think I have. So I'm going to just mark that. And so I'm trying that color here. And where I'm getting that color is from the long horizontal rectangle area. And I'm not liking it because I'm really liking how the yellow values and saturation or desaturation with the white are working together. So I like the peach, and I know that circle there was too busy, and I want to cover it up, make it a solid to quiet down all the patterning because they can be very overpowering. So that is the right idea, but I need to use a different color. The lighter value, yes, and maybe white. maybe just white so it goes in behind, so maybe you'll get a closed shape with an open interior. So I'll try that. So then I just continue with some marks down below with the brush. That seems to be okay because it's not interfering with any elements above. So then I need to dry these layers a little bit. And you'll notice that the polka dots in the upper left, the black on white polka dots with that yellow transparent piece, I just love it. So I'm really liking how it's incorporating with the rest of the black, white, and yellow. So that's definitely going to stay. I the lower black shape or rectangular square with the corner taken out with the circle, I treat that with some more black and white. Excuse me. And then I'm noticing, okay, I like the orange. I like the black. Which one will I use inside these raised pieces, which I really want to continue in the future, but really use, focus on some different shapes. So you can use anything, thicker card. I don't know what that real textured white piece is. I think it was some kind of sewing material. And now I'm thinking, okay, so I went through the list. What don't I have? Well, I don't have enough line. And maybe I didn't use it in the way you might have planned. I still think definitely the white rectangular shape with the black circles and the black next to it are really sharp. It's the highest contrast you can get, white and black, of course. So now I'm thinking of breaking up. I could have gone the other way, putting black into the white shape. So I think I might experiment with that instead. I might keep the white or gray marks with the Stencil Girl. I think these are organic. She has a whole organic category. So you might find, and that's what I really love, you might find some of the stencils that I've used and mentioned in previous videos there. So make sure to go back and watch some of those. I won't put any up in the top corner now because there's so many that I use these group of Stencil Girl stencils. Wonderful. And I think they're 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters. You can get them larger, but I find for journaling and this size work, you don't really need them. So thinking yellow, red, okay, orange. I'm loving that orange. Thinking line. Let's put some more line in. That sort of works. It doesn't stay, but stay and watch to the end so you'll see where I leave this piece off. And then in next week's video, we're going to start editing. Maybe keeping some of this, maybe making some drastic moves. I don't know. But whenever a piece starts to get you stuck and it just isn't going anywhere, I've learned that's when you need to make a brave move. Either cover something, obliterate something, or just carry on a favorite piece with a color that you really love and really go for it. Think out of the box is what I'll say Adele, and that's what she says, and that's what we need to do, and that's what I'm learning. So I like the yellow of that circle, but now you can see there's so many horizontal lines, it's not working, so it's too busy. This isn't bad. What I like about this is that you can still see the number 8 under it, but now it's just like, the 8 ball or something. No. I don't like it. So maybe I could have painted it white and then gone in with a different value over that so it was opaque. I might definitely think about that. So now we're getting some interesting things happening on this piece throughout the whole piece. And our eye, if you noticed, is not staying on the great big white rectangle in the middle. That I'm really loving those circles. And I love how they're cropped and they're not even. They're sort of organized, but yet they're not. And then I have to think about, okay, what am I trying to say here? What is the feeling? Am I getting that feeling? So not knowing what to do, well, I do know what to do. I'm just trying other things. I love this turquoise. I love this teal. Does it work in this painting though? So I'll try to lighten up the blue half circle, as you'll see in a moment. And as soon as I lighten it up, what's happening? It's the contrast. It's too high. So now I've got another element that I have to deal with. That is now fighting with other elements in the painting. So then I'm going to try, and the manganese blue of golden is incredible. It is the most beautiful blue. It is so transparent. So what I've done is just increase the saturation of that blue. And I'm really liking that little section. It's almost like a transition piece between the two. I really don't know if it's going to stay. I really don't know if it's working, because now you've got this blue. Now this blue element amongst white, yellow, red, orange. I think maybe staying more towards a more monochromatic, or it isn't monochromatic, we know, because that's just one color, but a simpler palette probably would work. So in the end, you'll see me paint. So now I'm trying so many different things with this blue, and I'm thinking, okay, let's stay around that white mark. Maybe that'll work. No. So now the eye's staying there. And I know for sure. So I thought, okay, let's cut that off, make that go in between. The eye still staying stuck there. Too much contrast, especially between the yellow, the blue, the black. When I do put a little piece of blue over here on the left, trying to match the similar value of the blue there, it's not bad in that I'm dispersing the blue element throughout the painting. And this is helping lead up to a whole bunch of different things, different interesting layers that I would never have planned. So using that intuitive process, just putting things down one layer at a time, leads you down the road to something like this. That in the end, I will need to learn how to edit. Where am I going with this? So I'm thinking, okay, so I have to dry the blue and dry those two blue elements, shapes, circles, and I like how they're cropped off in relation to all the other circles. So there's a huge circle theme, of course, going on. Now, dots, and I love the perfect polka dots up above. So I'm pointing to that just to let myself remember that I want to change that one. And I really think a lighter value would work. So now what I'm doing is just using pieces of collage with similar colors, values. There's that one piece. It's just, I planned it at the beginning. It's an image from a magazine or whatever. And I like that. I really like simple ones, parts of large texts. And we've seen a lot of collage like that. but I really, really like this. So I decide, okay, so to carry that eye, carry some black. That's looking pretty cool. Now we're getting, wow, now there's a lot going on. So which will we decide to edit? The black line or the blue circle? So now what I'm thinking is, okay, do I have enough of the distributed red throughout the painting? When I cover that up in red, it's not bad. Maybe orange would work better. So thinking, putting a square there, no, it doesn't go. So the blue does balance off the larger blue, but do I like it? Do I want it? So I'm going to cover that up again. There's so many layers under there. So right away I can tell, oh, that just seems to relax. Yes. Let's see, and now where the side where the blue circle is, yeah, and I'm just lightening that up a bit. Beautiful. The side where the blue circle is now is out of balance. It's way too heavy. So I end up, I think in the next bit, I'm trying to look ahead on my video as I'm editing it here. I do obliterate the blue circle. I finally realized you have to go. Now I'm trying black. Let's see if this works. Actually, I like how with the yellow, no, see now it's vying for attention with all the other circles. The contrast is too great. Yep. And this is why I love when you have a nice layer of medium on top. See, so that erased it a little bit, but that's okay, because I know I'm going to cover that anyway, so I don't worry about it. And maybe that'll end up disappearing, but it'll still be there because you'll see the it's sticking out, and I know the proper term. I just forget that term right now. So since I've been rubbing and doing some things, I decided to put, let's quiet down this top area, and let's maintain some of these circles, but let's just put a little bit of white over the top. I don't know why I chose white. I don't know if it'll stay white. In the end, at the video, this area pretty much stays the same, but it's not going to stay the same because I've made a few decisions already that I know I need to do. And who knows? And I know the red and white striped paper is sitting over there on the left. That would just take it over the top, I think, in busyness. So here's a piece of collage paper that I made with my jelly plate, with the catalyst wedge, with the teeth, the different widths going wide to skinny, and you just drag it across. And I also use some string just to get some really cool marks. This is another piece of collage paper made with the jelly plate, combination of ochres and yellows, and then a metallic similar value stencil on the top, and I really like combining that. So as I bring the black and white, see, I'm just blocking out. How is that going to look? Better. So great. Here comes the black over the blue. Hurry up. And it's so funny as we get attached to these shapes, these sections, these colors, and we just have to realize, you know what? Maybe next time, maybe in another painting. And then I realized, well, that white just isn't working. So I'm going to go right back to the edge, allow some space, this time black, and just, yes, I realize I am back to the beginning of that big white rectangle, but I can deal with that after everything's dry, and maybe I will add one more piece right there in the section that I'm working on. So I'm just getting rid of that little black smudge. And yes, bringing that up, cleaning that edge. And I know the sharper that edge, because it's matching the white up on a slight diagonal, adds a little bit more dynamics rather than exactly horizontal. So then I'm just finished drawing this up. You can see where it's shiny, where it's not shiny. And I think I just have a couple of collage pieces left to go for this 12 by 12 on panel. And I really love panel and really want to in the future use it at its utmost capacity by sanding down different layers, maybe even taking I know some of you or some of the artists that I follow take a real a disc sander to it. But in the early layers, planning that ahead of time would really be cool for texture. I think I really want to give that a try. Okay, so now that that's dry, I notice in passing when with the red here, and I use a different color, that's just that even works too, but it's too busy. That might work if you end up then putting that down and then covering it again with other shapes. Maybe. So I said, no, that's enough. That's just enough circles going on. I'm liking the red, but I end up using that piece. That might work. That might work. Still too busy. Still too busy. Then I'm just trying different. So I'm using colors within my color palette of red, but still too just out of the tube. There it is. So I'm realizing this is more saturated, and I love how it contrasts with the yellow above it, under those 3 black circles and the 2 white circles. But I notice I did trim it down a little bit. So it brings, it lessens the power of that tall black rectangle. Now, would it have worked better if I brought it down even more? Like right to where those white dots begin. So I might use the collage, leave that collage piece, and I'm just thinking out loud my next moves because it just never stops. And I'm really liking this. So now that I de-emphasized, changed the ratio of this black piece with the rest of the painting, the black little squarish piece on the left is now just showing up a bit more. And I really like that little metallic circle there. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but who knows? And then, of course, I'm going to put a good layer. There we go. So the angle, there it is. So it's a slight, it's not straight up and down. And then I'm really going to put a thick layer of the heavy gel gloss over this paper because this is newsprint paper, and when, of course, it's just inexpensive, but I like how it's excuse me, I like how it's very neutral and ages nicely. And then I try, okay, so I know by just putting that back there, a lighter value is going to work. And I don't know by the end of this video if I do end up covering that. Ooh, that looks good. So, and I have to get another puncher. I use the Cry-Cut circle punchers, and that's where I've gone to go and look for mine, and there it was right in my little rolly shelf next to me. Yep, there it is. And I know, so which section will I cut out? One with a little more metallic in it. So then so what's happening is I love that. It has in common to the rectangle the exact same values, but yet it's a different shape. So then, and it's also in common with the yellow oxide with the half circle in it below on the left. So now we've got some unity happening here. And then, of course, the yellow transparent on the upper left-hand corner. And I have a feeling I might bring down the polka dots to just black but we'll see. I don't know if that'll work. So I'm thinking, okay, let's bring the eye down with something. It doesn't matter if it works or doesn't work. It'll add texture, even if I want to cover it up later. So I don't choose white. I'm choosing a similar value. I would have liked if I added a little more yellow to this. Now I added white, but I think it needed a little bit more yellow. And I put it on too quickly, I think. So it didn't go on as thinly and as far down as I would like, but it's interesting. So I'm pointing to those lines because I'm going to let them dry, especially if they're white, and I can change the value of that later. This thick paper, handcrafted paper, I've been trying to use in different pieces, but hasn't found a spot yet. So I'm noticing I'm really liking stripes. I love stripes. I love stripes, circles, polka dots. And then I'm noticing, yes, that's looking very interesting. I like it next to the black polka dots on the white, but yet they're stripes. So, yes. And if it's too busy, I can always go over it, maybe maintain some of the stripes, put in some, cover up the thicker white, make it black. And I do end up doing that with black collage paper. And I like that little mark, but that's okay too. We'll let that dry. I can go over it, keep it. And there's a little piece right there below that I trimmed off that I end up using in the lower right-hand corner above the orange. Yes. And I put it right there. It's perfect. Perfect. So now we've got some nice elements, nicely distributed around, which are moving the eye around the piece. And of course, the peachy orange flower piece below the great big white rectangle. I've mentioned that. I love the colors, but I really don't believe it belongs there. So we'll see what I end up doing with that. And bringing some orange line. It's definitely making it busier, but I'm really liking the color. So as I'm finishing up this piece at this second pass, part 2, I really hope you're enjoying the content that I'm providing and that I am giving enough of my thinking process for this art process that went from abstract art journaling, learning what you can, and then applying it to slightly larger pieces. And then, of course, the whole goal is to go 24 inch by 24 inch or even larger. Once I'm comfortable with enough of taking my layers far enough in the colors that I like, and then learning this editing process. And this is such a fun challenge. And making sure we have fun along the way. And I know I don't usually focus on one piece like this, but I find there's so many really good lessons to learn that I'm sticking with it. And then I have 2 more 12 by 12s on panel that we're going to work with in the next upcoming videos. So please subscribe. Please hit that like button and hop on over to my Facebook group and all of those links. The link is in the comments below. So cleaning up the white. So right away when I added that bright white, I don't know if I like that or not. Yes, it's bringing some of that upper white down. Maybe it would have been better as tight and buff. I'm not sure. We'll have to check that out. And I know I wanted something up there, but that just took it over the top. And of course, ruined, I believe, that beautiful effect that's going on up there with that transparency of the yellow, interesting shape. And in future videos too, I will be making a new set of collage papers, both directly on paper and with the jelly print, keeping some interesting shapes that we have learned that we like along the way. So I'm really liking it much better as I make that upper white more solid. But where I'm going to go from there, who knows? So I could have trimmed some of that paper away, but I just added a little more to take that yellow curve or arc. And that's really interesting. It's moving the eye over. So finishing up with some yellow Posca marker, and you can do this very easily with the small conversations going on, as long as you are using similar value. So then you're not interfering, or not interfering, but you're not changing the composition that you have at that time. So just drawing up the white and taking a look at this. So who knows? I'm liking how I disperse things in the corner. So the polka dots, I thought, well, those are closed solid. So let's use some open. And no, didn't work. But I like that I thought about it. So I noticed when I use my Posca markers and then I paint directly over it, of course, it's going to smudge. So I remembered to dry that. And I think they still smudge a little bit, so I'm being very careful. So they're slightly covered, doesn't work. So I end up dabbing them off, but not sponging them this time, which is great. And just going in with a nice solid white. Oh. Smudging. So then we just dab that off again. And this is how we can just learn about timing with drying of paint, when to go in and do some, so I think this might be a solution. Maybe. I don't end up doing that, but looking at that now, so I'm thinking of some black and white just to cover that area. And I end up just putting some more white on top after really making sure it was dry this time. So while I'm drawing that little section, you can take a look around. So the bottom has all sorts of things going on. Less as you go up, your eye follows that black arc, half circle on the left, up to the stripes. And there we go. And so I know I want to change the amount of polka dots up there in behind, but what will my transition color or value be? So I'm going to experiment with maybe some orange, maybe some pink. I think some pink up there might be good. All right. So what's next? So some final thoughts, and using collage paper like this. Oh, yes. So I'm thinking of the stripes on the left, carrying the eye over this opaque white, but in a different way. And that's okay. It works all right. I don't know if I'll end up keeping it. As you can see, the sun's coming out. It's freezing up here. I'm in, I don't know where the rest of you are living, but I'm in Ontario, Canada, and our winter has been crazy this year. I'm in a rural location, which is so wonderful. And, but the weather has been so up and down, and I think everywhere too, because south of us has gotten so much crazy weather. And it's so nice to sit in the sun when I'm doing my videos, as well as the lighting is so great. So sometimes when I'm getting into this, I don't realize the sun has come around, and I have white blinds that that are just there on my right. And then I just lowered it, and it disperses the light so nicely. Oh, look at that. So nice. So you'll notice the whitest, brightest videos are when it's sunny. So I hope you have a wonderful day and you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.